Welcome to March 2, the pod presented by Eternal Roofing. They have roofing you can trust with your home. This is season 3, episode 15. We're talking goals, grit, and some growing frustrations in a big way. I'm Cory Hogue, your host, producer, once banned catfans.com member, but let bygones be bygones, right? I'm just over here waiting for Longo to get fired. You can find me on social media at Cory Hogue Sports. It's all one word, Coryhogue Sports. And don't forget to check out my new Substack, which is also Cory Hogue Sports. I cover Texas non-FBS football every week, a level where the Cats used to be successful. As always, I'm joined by the bald knower, the man, the myth, the legend behind Sports of SHSU on Twitter and Instagram, the COO of Cat Fund, Proud Bear Cat himself, and the real reason why you're even tuning in, Ben Sorrells. Ben, you don't even have to tell me something positive this week because we actually get to discuss teams that win at Sam Houston.
A little bit different this week. Yeah, no football on a bye, so talking some hoops and the soccer team that continues to roll.
Well, we do have to talk some football. We got to review that last game. And then, look, I will just say this. Our end of season recap of football, it's going to be pretty hot.
Yeah.
It's not anything not what we wanted. This ain't how we wanted this to go. Am I surprised? To a point, yeah. I didn't think it would be at this level of bad so fast.
Yeah, when you got 5 more games and it can either go the right direction or continue to go the wrong direction. So, still a lot of ball left.
A lot of ball left. Unfortunately, though, I do have an idea of how it's going to go, I think. And I think I know why. We'll get into some of that. Some of that's coming up here in our review of the UTEP game. But first, let's hear some words from our friends and non-Cats haters. They love Sam Houston, Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing and General Contracting is your choice for integrity work in the Texas Hill Country. Taylor Andrus and crew provide experienced quality roofing services with a mission of roofing with faith, serving with integrity, and sheltering homes in the spirit of stewardship. Don't just take our word for it. Here's what satisfied customer Pamela Allen had to say about Eternal Roofing. They did a great job on our patio roof, came out quick for a quote. The quote was very reasonable, and they started and finished work well and quickly. Not a bad thing to say about Eternal Roofing. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email them taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Well, last week was the UTEP game. Sam Houston, they opened the game on fire. Actually, for the first time this year, that offense came out playing well. The defense forced a 3-and-out on the Miners' first drive. And the offense, check this out, 8-play, 99-yard drive. It ended with this 20-yard touchdown pass from Hunter Watson to Malik Phillips.
They'll turn and look at him again. Now Watson throws over the middle. Malik Phillips diving into the end zone. He's in for a touchdown. Sam Houston scores first.
Sam Houston scores first. And you know what, Ben? When I look at that play right there, I see a fake swing pass, which we have seen a million of those swing passes this year. And it seemed that the fake opened up a lane for the wide receiver.
Yeah, it definitely did. And like you said, a lot of swing passes this year. Your starting running back right now, Coco Brown, is number 1 in the country in receptions as a running back, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing in this offense. But yeah, it definitely set up the slant. It was a great drive, and I know we'll talk about it as it goes on, but the first half, the offense was pretty good. I mean, maybe the best it's looked all year.
Yeah, look, I want my running back to lead in a lot of areas, like rushing yards, yards after contact, receiving yards and receptions. I'm not really big on receptions for my running back a lot of times.
Yeah, that's how you know there's a problem with the receiving core.
Yeah, well, somewhere there's a problem, and you know what? It's got to get diagnosed, and it starts. We'll find out where. We got that coming up. I got some clips to play. But the Cats, the defense kept going. The offense on their next possession had another 8-play drive, but it did resemble most drives we've seen this season. It gained 25 yards and then turned the ball over on downs, and we don't have video of this, but it was I'm just going to call it a horrendous play call on 4th down. Not the decision to go for it. I was fine with the decision to go for it, but you don't go for it with such a play to the short side option. That's just a bad play call, and it turned the whole momentum of the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. And that was what Hunter taking it to the right side, the short side of the field. It was kind of an RPO or an option look. Yeah, you can't run things to the short side of the field like that.
Now you should be able to read that defensive line a little better. Again, Longo feels like he's pressing, man. It does.
Yeah.
And when the head coach is letting that pressure get to him, it feeds through that entire team. Every player feels it.
I think they went for it 5 times on 4th down and didn't convert on 4 of them against UTEP. I think that's what it was.
That is not a good percentage, my man.
No.
So UTEP seized the momentum and scored touchdowns on its next 2 drives and took a 14-7 lead early in the second quarter. But Sam Houston wasn't done. Look, these players say one thing about maybe some coaching stuff, but I'm going to tell you, these players fight. Every single game, these players are still fighting to win these games. And Sam Houston responded with a 10-play, 77-yard drive. It stalled inside the red zone, but they brought on Christian Pavon for a 26-yard field goal.
Christian Pavon from 26. He drills it for 3, and we've got a 4-point ball game.
That pulled the Cats within 14-10, but here's my question, Ben. In the press conference recently, before that game, I was told by the head coach, Phil Longo, that there was a short distance kicker and a long distance kicker. And RJ Lopez was the kicker to a certain distance, and they would decide that on game day. Was RJ did he just I don't know what his distance was, but it wasn't 26 apparently.
Yeah, well, and it's going on this week. It was all Pavon. The week before, I think it was still a little back and forth between the two, but it looks like Pavon's the starting kicker now, and that's, like you said, on the heels of Longo saying that RJ Lopez was the starter as long as it's within a certain distance. So frustrating there, and to the point of the players not quitting, I think that's a good point. I don't think there's any game where the guys have come out and just fallen flat on their face. I mean, every game is a 3-4 point game at halftime. I just think the other team's probably a little more talented, has a little more depth, and it shows in the fourth quarter. But if the guys weren't fighting, it would be 17-0, 20-0 at the end of the first, and we haven't seen that yet this year.
I'm not even going to say it's talent, not maybe a little bit depth. I think it's something else, and we're not going to sit here and discuss some things that have been coming out with Bro Bible and stuff. But I'm telling you, things are coming soon that we will have to probably touch on this podcast in the next week or so. And things are headed south on a program, as they do when you're 0-7, right? They just do. You can't change that fact, right?
Yeah.
That's how it is. But then after that field goal, we saw a brilliant sequence of football. The Cats forced UTEP to turn the ball over on downs. Sam Houston, they don't just simply accept any generosity. They gave the ball right back to the Miners on the next play with a fumble. But UTEP said, no. We insist you get the ball. And they threw this pass pretty much directly to Iman Allen.
So 1st and goal for Locklear and company. What a swing, a 62-yard return for Taylor Locklear. Under pressure, he gets the pass off. It's intercepted. You've got to be kidding me. Another big swing. Iman Allen snatches it out of the air, and Sam Houston has the ball right back.
Oh, sir, we're not kidding you.
Turf monster.
You know what? Turf monster tackled him, but that was good pressure. They got pressure on him there, forced him to panic and throw the ball up. Iman Allen read it beautifully, stepped in there to pick it off. And then, the turf monster, which it's not your home field, obviously.
Yeah, it was a crazy game. I mean, the ball change possession 3 consecutive plays, and I think overall it was 5 turnover on downs, 2 interceptions, 2 block kicks, a muff punt. It was crazy. I mean, it was not the most pretty football being played last Wednesday.
I've watched way too much weekday CUSA. It is some bad football, man.
Yeah, and I think we've brought that up. This is the 3rd year in a row now where the midweek games teams just do not look right.
No, it is not good football. And even last night, like La Tech and WKU, how insane was the ending of that game? Good Lord, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of funky stuff. Yeah, a lot of funky stuff. Games coming down to field goals, turnovers, easy plays. It's a part of weekday CUSA.
It is. So Cats got the ball, and that drive stalled out on downs once again after 12 plays. But this hit right here to Hunter Watson changed the rest of the contest. And there's no sound, so I'm gonna say it. He drops back, looks to pass, comes in, defensive or linebacker, defensive back, one of the two comes up with a shoulder. I believe you recorded that video. I think that's where I got that from.
Yeah.
Comes in with a shoulder and just lays it down on Hunter Watson's head. That was shoulder to head, forcible contact. In my opinion, and I'm a little biased about it, but in my opinion, I think that met every part of the rule for a targeting call at minimum.
Yeah, especially on the replay. I know things are moving quickly in real time, but when you watch it back, I mean, there's definitely something there.
But they didn't even look at it, did they?
No.
That's what bothers me, right? Like if you replay it and you go, hey, look, no, I might not agree, but at least you took the time to look. A play like that, you didn't even take the time to look, and now you got our quarterback knocked out.
Yeah, and I think that was his best half of football the entire season. He was 13-19, had led 2 scoring drives, and it should have been a third. I think he threw his best ball in a year and a half that he'd been here to Tim Burns, probably 40, 50 yards in the air, and it was a walk-in touchdown. Hit him right in the chest, right in the hands, and he just dropped it. So he should have been 14 for 19 with another touchdown, 7 more points on the board, and once he went out, it kind of felt like all the air in the balloon just got let out. You could just feel it.
Oh, yeah, you could, even at home, you could see that it wasn't going to be the same. I'm repping the Navarro Dogs hat today, so maybe Tim will catch that next time.
Hopefully.
So they go to the half at 14-10. You watch your quarterback, you see him, what happened, right? You see him go into the locker room, it's a concussion most likely. And honestly, I don't think anyone even went into that locker room feeling good at that point as well as the first half had gone.
Yeah, with Hunter being out, absolutely.
So both teams exchanged punts to start the second half, and then UTEP extended its lead to 21-10. Cass responded. The 6-play, 90-yard drive, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Ended with a 13-yard touchdown pass. Mabry Matoyer hit Lonnie Adkism to pull the Cats within 21-17 with 3:03 left in the third quarter.
That's the kind of guy who has translated well to this level. Matoyer throws right, and it's caught. Complete. Michael Phoenix is in for a touchdown.
Sir, that is not Michael Phoenix, but that is a gorgeous wide receiver screen set up, blocked, executed perfectly.
Yeah, and it was good to see Lonnie get involved, a highly touted recruit that got here last year, now a redshirt freshman, a guy that if he stays for another year or two, I think could be a big piece of this offense, so good to see him get involved. First career touchdown.
Yeah, no, I'm really happy to see that. I just, at this point, there are so many things happening that I don't know if anyone stays at this point.
Yeah, that's a battle for another day, but yeah, I'm glad he did well.
Like I said, again, it's something we're going to have to get into probably before the season's over because that's kind of how things are getting pushed due to, we saw players getting kicked off and pushed off, not kicked off, but taken off the roster. And we've seen some of that, dysfunction, if you will, and we will have to discuss that, but not this week. That will come up shortly. But We get back into the game. Fourth quarter, Cats are in the game 21-17. As we have seen over and over this year, UTEP owned the Cats in the fourth quarter, added 2 more touchdowns. They left with a 35-17 victory. And this is what head coach Phil Longo had to say after the game.
Tough losses. I just told our guys I appreciate their effort, which I do every week. This could be a situation that's could be a lot worse, but it's not. And I'm very proud of our guys because of the way they play, how hard they play, and how much they care. And really, I just told them that there's a missing ingredient somewhere, and it starts at the top, and I just think that that's my responsibility. So I've got to figure out what that is, and we got to find a way to close a game. We have been playing well enough to keep ourselves in many of these games that we're playing, and we got to find a way to close it in the fourth quarter. And that, in a nutshell, is really where we are right now, and that's what I told the team. And with that, are there any questions?
Okay, so there's a missing ingredient right now. We hear this. And it starts at the top. Yes, it does. And he's got to figure it out. Curious your thoughts, Ben.
I mean, he just looked dejected there. That was my first take off the bat. I mean, a lot of the times it's, hey, we didn't make this play here, didn't make this play there, and came up short. It kind of felt like just accepting defeat. That was the vibe I got.
He had more on the missing ingredient. Let's listen to this part, and also about this time off they have.
We got to a point these last 2 weeks where, we played well enough, I think, to give ourselves a chance to win in the fourth quarter. And, I told the guys, I'm not sure what the ingredient is we're missing, but it's my job to figure it out and find it. And I'm the one to blame until we get it done. So that's the focus this week is we've got 2 weeks. We've got 16 days before we play again. And so I gave them a couple days off, and we'll regroup. And I'm sure they will respond like they always do, and they'll come back and practice hard. And in the meantime, the staff and I will reevaluate everything just to see where we're at, because we've got to give ourselves every opportunity to win against La Tech on the 31st. And so we're going to be back to the grind just like we always are. And I don't think there's a loss of direction or vision or commitment. I just think it's taken us an awful long time to get where we want to be. And, that makes for a hard season.
Okay. Your thoughts on what he said?
I mean, the missing ingredient thing, I don't know what it is. I have ideas. I think the coaching is definitely part of it, but I just don't see this team putting together 4 quarters with how they've played, with how the staff has managed things, with how game management decisions have been made. I just don't see how they put it together for 4 quarters. So I don't know what the missing ingredient is. I don't know what you change, what you fix, what you adjust. I mean, it's hard at this point. I just don't know where you turn to solutions, honestly.
I have ideas. I think the missing ingredient, he said it starts at the top, and he's 100% correct.
Mm-hmm.
There are, and I'm not, look, he's not the only one about to take some heat right here. But he needs to change himself and somehow he operates. He needs a real come to Jesus about how he is, how he's treating things, how he's treating people, right? Like, there's a lot going around that he's going to have. You want to know missing ingredient? It starts with you. You want the players to trust you, you have to trust them, right? And then the other part of this, Freddie Autry-Lindsay is not off the hook on this season by any means. How you continue to have wide receivers get wide open in your defensive backfield, you are the defensive coordinator. We are 7 games into this season. You should have had that nixed a long time ago.
Yeah, well, just to tie it all together too, I I know there's been a lot of conversation too online about the play calling and those duties, and I think Longo needs to be more involved with the defense. I know he said he was hired because he's an offensive guy and he's scored a lot of points in the past, but you're not an offensive coordinator or quarterbacks coach, you're a head coach, and I think you got to be more involved on the defensive side. And I agree, especially on the Autry Lindsay side with the Jack State game. I mean, whoever's decision that was ultimately, I mean, it's inexcusable, really. But I think if we're just looking from a game management perspective, stuff you see on the sideline on a day-to-day, nothing behind the scenes, I think there's got to be some change in alignment within the staff and who calls the plays and how involved Longo is with all aspects of the team.
You know, I've seen, and I was talking with my wife earlier today that this team should really be, they should have at minimum 2, probably 3 wins right now.
Right. Yeah.
And in my opinion, it's coaching that's kept them from getting there.
Yeah. What is the old saying? I think in baseball, one run either way, it's on the manager. Or football, one possession either way, it's kind of on the head coach. And we've seen a couple of those.
Unfortunately, we have. Justin Hernandez chimes in, watching on YouTube, says, glad I can finally watch a live stream. Justin, we are so glad to have you watching. He's been busy lately. I get you, man. Listen, I get it. But you can always catch us later, watch the show later, catch it on the podcast platform. If you can't watch live, we understand. We all have jobs and busy lives. His question: what is a good 5-year plan to implement if you guys were AD for Sam Houston? Now, Justin, I'm going to preface this by saying that's an entire podcast, and we don't have time to get into all that right now.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's a couple action points. I think you need to set fundraising goals, attendance goals. I know we talked about it, I think, in the offseason. Win goals for coaches or win percentages for coaches. I think you got to have that. I think also need to have a 5-year plan for staffing. That might be one of the biggest things, not just from a team perspective, but also internally, media, fundraising, ticketing, sales. What can you put together for a 5-year plan for the athletic department? So those are just a couple of spitball ideas off the top of my head.
Where I would start, if I'm AD, I would be a horrendous AD, by the way. I'm not qualified by any means. And listen, Bobby Williams has been good for Sam Houston for a long time. That's the problem now, though. We need fresh, younger blood. I'm not being an ageist here, but I was on another podcast yesterday. Look, there have been so many changes technology-wise, right? And I kind of relate it to watching my parents, right? My parents were born my dad was born in 1938. My mom was born in 1953. And I've watched them as the technology has changed. They struggled, but they were able to catch on with computers, right? The computer age came, they were able to catch on. When the cell phone age came, initially, my dad was pretty good at it, flip phones type stuff. Once smartphones came, my dad was out. Right. And my mom was able to manage smartphones. But even now, like, we're to a point that the technology has advanced and things have changed in this world to a point where you need someone, and I'm not saying 30, 35, it could be someone who's 60, 65, right? There's not really an age range. There is an ability to understand people today and technology and use that to your advantage. And I think that's where this athletic department needs to start.
Yeah, and I think just a mindset change overall too for how you do things. Just because it's worked in the past does not mean it's going to work in the future, especially with how much things have changed the last 5 years.
Exactly. We got a few more comments coming in here. Thank you guys so much for that. Josh, also watching on YouTube, says, honestly, if this is the year where Longo has to work through the head coach struggles, this would be a perfect year for it to happen. No real home games, less talent, and not a full high school portal schedule. Josh, you're 100% right. If there's a year to have a bad year, this is it. The problem is, and this is what I want to know, is what's your plan to not have another year like this? Because right now, I don't see a plan to make any changes.
Yeah, and I think we all knew it was going to be a rough year. I think it's just seeing what's gone on behind the scenes, kind of what the roster looks like moving forward, you see that it might not just be a 1-year thing, but who knows? It could be. If it is, I totally agree. This is the 1 year to do it. There was going to be some sort of regression no matter who the head coach was going to be. Schedule's more difficult, no home field. So it's definitely the year to do it. I think we just now have more concerns a little over halfway through the season that it might last more than 1 year.
That's my concern. Chris Gilstrap is watching on Facebook. He says, "Amen, Cory. Fresh faces, new ideas. I've said it the last few years, top to bottom." He then says, "Look, you're right." And listen, I was one, and trust me, none of you Sam Houston fans forget that I was not a fan of the Longo hire. That's no secret. But that doesn't mean I wanted him to fail. Right? That doesn't mean I like what's going on. I don't want to be proven correct quite often, especially when I have a take that is negative. I don't want to be vindicated sometimes. But yes, I do think fresh blood is very important. And I think top to bottom, I mean, if you're talking university, honestly, I'm not going to lie. Top to bottom, it needs new blood. It does. It needs some fresh faces. It needs new ideas. Right now, Sam Houston feels stuck in the damn mud, right? And you need somebody to push that forward.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people immediately point to Bobby Williams and Dr. White, and I think they're. I mean, I get that, I totally do, but there are other departments and finance things behind the scenes that have to change that are more than just one or two people.
Oh, I agree, but you start getting those people in, and guess what? They can make changes in those other areas.
No, and that's part of it too. Yeah.
Well, the Rev, Dustin Helton, hey, we are so good. Lumberjack fans are jumping on here. He wants to know, can we use the technology to figure out what line I should take on Sam versus Bye? Hey, Dustin, I did pretty well last week using Chat GPT, so that was good. And then he comes back with a real question. Does the university need to pay SFA to play a Battle of the Piney Woods to get fans at Shell Energy? Would you? I mean, okay, seriously. Let's. I know I missed the Battle of the Piney Woods.
You got a little bit of it. Got a little bit of it this Saturday on the hardwood.
We do.
Little different.
But it's. Would it be the same? Would it gain the same energy that it now that it's FCS versus FBS as it used to? I just don't think so.
I think it would definitely rejuvenate the fan base a little bit, but would it do as much as it used to? Probably not. Especially after the Texas State rivalry has kind of been renewed a little bit. And people, I think, turn their attention more to Texas State now than SFA. But it would still garner some attention.
I don't think it would garner enough to get NRG anymore.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I mean, that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Justin Hernandez says, been talking to other Bearcats, and they aren't happy about the recent articles that have been posted by Bro Bible. What y'all's takes on the articles? Hard truth or easy viewership grab?
A little bit of both.
Justin. First off, when I see the name Bro Bible, I also immediately kind of discount because they are an engagement farming type of thing. But I will say, from those I have spoken to around, and I have talked to plenty in the Bearcat area as well, no, they're not happy about this Bro Bible thing. I hate to tell you that there's probably more coming out, and probably sooner than later, to be honest with you, because maybe not all of it, but there was a lot of truth in there.
Yeah.
And it's not something that we are going to touch on in season until we have to. We're trying to save a lot of this for postseason.
Yeah, I sent you the article as soon as it came out, and I told you, I know about half of this is true. I have no idea what the other half, so I'm not going to touch it.
And I will also say this. I personally know that there are other journalists who are digging and stuff too, and I am not one of those. Right? I'm trying to work on a high school football app to the scoring app. I'm not messing with any of it, nor do I want to.
Yeah.
But I will read what comes out. I will tell you that.
Yeah, and like you said, we'll hit on it when it needs to be hit on, because we've heard things since February,
Yeah.
I mean, weird things. So, but I mean, we'll see what comes out. We'll talk about the football, and if we need to touch on it, we'll touch on it.
We're going to try to avoid it until the season ends, but our hand could be forced. That
Yeah.
really is what it comes up to. The Rev, again, let's be honest, CUSA is the fourth best FCS conference at the moment. I mean, there's not a lot of difference. And I was talking with Keith Patterson of Abilene Christian today for my podcast next week, and he talked about how he doesn't. Those midweek CUSA games are just proof that FCS football is better. And in a lot of ways, I can't disagree with him on a lot of these. Man, it's bad.
Yeah, no, it is. I mean, top to bottom, I don't know how deep those leagues are. Some of them, I mean, obviously the Missouri Valley, definitely see it from top to bottom. I think CUSA is probably second, maybe third.
They're
Something like
behind.
that.
They're behind Missouri Valley, and they're behind the UAC.
I don't know about the UAC. I think it might be between the two, but I mean, you could convince me either way.
That UAC is pretty good. Of course, I'm also biased on that because I am a non-FBS guy. Justin Hernandez says, "Oh, geez, got to prepare for my dad spamming these articles." Yeah, Justin, get ready. And Chris Gilstrap on Facebook chimes in. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Even if it's a lot of sour grapes, it brings awareness. That is true. But here's the thing, Chris. I want awareness, but I want facts. I don't want sour grapes. I want facts. And there are some things that have been factual and some things that are still waiting to find out if factual. And more will likely come out. It is time to move on away from football, my friends. We're going to talk women's soccer, and we're going to talk men's and women's basketball. But first, if you are enjoying the show, help us grow by rating and reviewing March to the Pod on your favorite podcast platform. It matters. We have a Substack page, marchtothepod.substack.com. Go subscribe. You will get every episode as soon as it's uploaded, delivered right to your inbox. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube by searching for March to the Pod. March, the number 2, the Pod. We're also proud to be members of the CUSA Podcast Roundtable, which, by the way, did those messages get wild last night during the Western Kentucky game with shows covering all 12 Conference USA programs. But before we talk about the European football, let's hear some more from our friends over at Eternal Roofing.
Eternal Roofing only uses the finest materials in the roofing business while providing an exceptional warranty. Why do they use CertainTeed products? Because they complement any appearance, provide exceptional and reliable strength, and are known for their enduring performance. Here's what Shane Sosa had to say about Eternal Roofing. Taylor and his team are amongst the highest level of professionals. They care about their customers and go above and beyond just doing the job. Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539 or email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
I want to put one final bow on the last leg of our podcast since we do 3 legs, for tripod. It is understandable that people would wonder why we're going to wait until either we're forced or the end of season to do this. Listen, number one, we're not trying to we want to tell you the truth, and we're going to tell you the truth, but we're also not trying to harm programs or the university or the athletic department. There are many relationships at the university that Ben has and I have that through all the different sports. And, a lot of times, and I will tell you my own personal experience with non-FBS in my hometown of Wichita Falls, I have been confronted numerous times by coaches of other programs like, hey, why are you so hard on this at MSU? Why, it's not personal, number one. But number two, you got to remember those things, right? Like you can't just go out there and blow relationships sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're afraid to sell this. It's going to come and it's coming. But right now we need the players to not focus on Bro Bible. We need them to focus on trying to win these games. And we need the coaching staff to try to figure out whatever that missing ingredient is to win these games as well. Now, a coach that did figure out the ingredient with a late hire and a lot of new faces on a roster, Kendall Ayers. And the Cats women's soccer team had 2 big Conference USA road games last week, starting against FIU in Miami last Thursday. And Ben, tell me how big this game is at FIU.
Huge. I mean, road games are just extremely difficult in soccer with the travel, especially having to fly down to Miami. I mean, that's one of the tougher trips in Conference USA. You had also been home for a couple weeks, so getting back on the road is a big adjustment. FIU, middle of the pack this year. I think they were 3-3 coming into that game, or 3-2. I can't remember exactly. But they were the defending champs, and they're still a pretty decent team. They're 7-5-3 right now. So that's a very respectable opponent on the road. You went into their place, beat the defending champs. Huge. And it kind of just validated the results you had seen at home, because home and road splits are very, very different in college soccer, especially with the travel in Conference USA. To sort of prove it on the road against a team like that was pretty incredible.
It was. And Gabrielle Gibson scored a goal on this free kick in the 7th minute to put the Cats ahead 1-0
on a free kick. And it was box to box. And as you mentioned, earning this free kick for Sam Houston. And what they did so well was when they picked up the ball higher up the field at midfield or 40 yards out.
A low free kick glanced off the defender and really caught the goalie by surprise, because at that range with your your line in front of you, your defensive line, you're expecting the ball to be tried to go over, maybe hit one of the upper 90s. She did not, and that deflection really threw the goalie off, and that ball snuck in there.
Yeah, it just really impressive, because Gabrielle Gibson's a defender. And had never scored a goal until the previous game. I think it was UTEP was their final home game before going on the road. She had never scored a goal in her collegiate career. She scored against UTEP and then scored against FIU, and it takes everybody. I mean, you've seen Ellie Morgan, the true freshman, with some big goals. She had one on Sunday against Missouri State, and a couple. Tiana Johnson is another one that's always in the mix. A couple of the people you expect to score, but you got to have a couple people step up throughout the course of a long season, and she did it with back-to-back goals in games, and that was really, really impressive.
It takes all 11.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, and the defense was superb against the Panthers. Held them to 11 shots. Only one of them was on goal in the 1-0 victory. So then Sam Houston headed to Springfield, Missouri. And by the way, don't visit Springfield if you don't have to. Just saying. All right, bad weather. Every time I go there, it's bad weather. Just don't do it. They were there on Sunday to face Missouri State. And once again, the Cats got on the board early with this goal, like you were talking about, Ben, by freshman Ellie Morgan in the 11th minute.
9-2 overall, 6-1-1 in conference play. They beat Prairie View and Alabama A&M to reach the finals of the SWAC tournament. Then they lost to Southern 1-0 in the title game. Good pass. That will take a bounce, and that is into the net. Sam Houston with an early goal.
A brilliant goal early in the game again. And what a beautiful assist by Caitlin Vance.
Yeah, who's been incredible, both her and Taylor, the twins, coming in from Georgia State, I believe it was. But yeah, it's all about just creating opportunities. And one of them, that's all you need to find the net, and that's what happened there. And yeah, just a huge win. Back-to-back road wins, 2 games in 4 days. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
And that defense was tested again. And again, they held strong. They allowed 13 shots, only 1 on goal. This terrific save. And you want to see Caitlin Vance. You're about to see Caitlin Vance again. But you're also going to see a tremendous save here by Katie Bond.
Now, why number 14 right there didn't take that shot? I believe it was 14.
This is where that's where it deflects off the keeper, and wow.
I love when you get biased announcers on these.
Yeah.
Oh, because you ain't out there playing, fool. All right, so that was But that was a good save by Baum. But what really impressed me there was Kalen Vance getting back, going and defending that line. Look, that's coaching.
Yeah.
Right? That's coaching and instinct to see it, get back, defend that line, and not only help your goalkeeper, but in the process, you're also helping your team.
And that's been the story of the year, and Caitlin Vance has been a very big part of it, her and Gabrielle Gibson on the back line, along with Katie Bond. I mean, you know how many goals they've given up in 7 Conference USA games?
What, about 3?
3 goals in 7 games.
Look at me.
And I mean, to compare soccer to football, this team reminds me so much, and it's very different games, but so much of the 2024 Sam Houston football team. They are not going to let you score, and they're going to do just enough offensively to win games. And that's what they've done really all season. They know they don't need to go score a ton of goals, but they're going to rely on their defense. They're not going to let you beat them, and they're just going to find an opportunistic goal somewhere and take advantage of it and walk out of there with a 1-0 lead. And, I mean, it is hard to score on this team. They've had 5 shutouts in 7 Conference USA games.
Team defense. It is team defense. And Justin Henderson says he's watching on YouTube again. Definitely have caught myself checking ESPN for Sam Houston's women's soccer score since football hasn't been great. This has been a guilty pleasure for sure. It's not guilty. Don't feel guilty, Justin. It is fun to watch this women's soccer team. And, you know, catch them on ESPN Plus. Follow their account. Follow Ben Sports of SHSU. You know, they're really fun to follow and watch this year. And it's a great story. It really is.
Yeah, well, and there's one game left for everybody in conference play. It'll be this coming Saturday or Sunday. I can't remember off the top of my head. Then everybody gets a week off before the tournament. But Sam Houston, WKU, and Liberty are all tied with 5 wins.
Boy, you're leading me right into the standings here.
Are you going to pull them up? Yeah, there we go.
I got the standings.
And so just to walk through it a little bit, Sam Houston plays at Liberty. You can take care of that tiebreaker if you win. WKU does hold the tiebreaker over you, but I think they go to Jack State. I know they play Jack State, so they should win it. But if they tie, you'll be at 6 wins. So there's a shot Sam Houston walks out of this weekend as the regular season conference winner, which would just be an incredible story.
Right now, are they locked into at least the 3?
I think so.
Well, that would be a fantastic, but they could walk out of there at 2 at minimum.
Yes, you beat Liberty, you're at 2 at the very, very least. And like I said, if you win and WKU ties or loses, you're the only team with 6 wins.
They are 1 point. 1 point. A win, and if Liberty ties on the road, which they're 3-0-1, they've had a tie. If, you know, you beat Liberty. If WKU, I mean, if they tie, they had 2 at home. They've not tied on the road. They're 3-0 on the road. But if they tie, which they're due one, by the way. They're due a draw. Sam Houston picks up that 3. They vault to the top. And you look at this right now, 5-game win streak for Liberty, 3 for Sam Houston, 2 of the hottest teams. Best form going on right now for both those 2 teams in Conference USA. And I want to say this also. Look at this record away for the Cats, 2-0-1. You mentioned how it doesn't matter what sport it is, college, high school, pro, it's hard to win on the road, but these ladies have done that over and over again.
Yeah, and 4-2-2 overall, which is really impressive because that included a road win at Grand Canyon, a good Grand Canyon team. So this team is for real. I think they've got as good a shot as anyone. Once we get into the tournament, we'll see what the draw is. Hopefully you just come out of the Liberty game healthy. I think the one disadvantage the team has is they play at Liberty, then they got to go back to Liberty the next week to play the tournament. I don't think you stay there for 7 days before the first game of the tournament starts. So that's the only disadvantage they have. But I mean, with the way they're playing, they've got as good a shot as anyone to go win this thing.
Justin, write this down. Noon Sunday, as soon as you get out of church, ESPN Plus, because I know, Justin, you're going to church on Sunday, okay? Your mama's going to make you. Noon Sunday, ESPN Plus. Catch that final game. Sam Houston at Liberty, a chance to walk away regular season conference champions, and that would be just remarkable for a coach that, again, you can't say it enough. It's hard. We see it. We see it with another program that we've already talked about today. You come in first year, you come in late, a whole new roster. It's impressive.
It is. I mean, I think she's conference coach of the year no matter what this last weekend looks like in my eye. I've talked about it a couple of times when she got here, and I'm pretty sure this is the number based on the roster that was posted. Only, I think it was 14 of the 25 roster spots were filled, and she filled that with transfers and freshmen. I mean, and both transfers and freshmen are contributing. Everybody she brought in from the Vance sisters, Villatoro from Gardner-Webb, Ellie Morgan, the freshman. I mean, just pulling all the right strings. And she gave a baby. She gave birth to a baby halfway through or to start conference play, which is just incredible. The job she's done has just been fantastic.
Justin said his mom's still dressing him for church. Sadly, doesn't want to ruin her appearance. My mom was always big on that crud too, right? Like, you can't wear a T-shirt to church. You have to respect the Lord. I'm like, the Lord ain't going to care.
As long as you're there, right?
That's right. As long as you're there, the Lord ain't going to give a damn. Yeah. All right. Before we move on to talking about men's and women's basketball and hearing about the latest from the Cat Fund, let's hear one more time about our friends over at Eternal Roofing and how before this calendar changes in November, you better get some Christmas lights.
Eternal Roofing is locally owned and dedicated to giving back to the community by supporting local organizations and charities. They are also the winner of Next Door's Neighborhood Faves for 2 consecutive years. And as you know, if you've listened to this podcast, Eternal Roofing is your choice for Christmas lights. They provide premium lights tailored to fit your home, season-long maintenance, and hassle-free removal. Kyle Tatum said, "They're very professional and great quality, on time and clean, and really made me feel like they cared for me and my home." Give Eternal Roofing a call today at area code 830-251-5673 or area code 936-215-8539, or you can email taylor@eternalroofingtx.com.
Big things happening, good things happening at Sam Houston with some of these programs. Maybe not on the gridiron, but other places, on the pitch and on the hardwood. Good things are happening. And that, a lot of that, some of that, is because of the Cat Fund. Ben, tell us how people can help support these Bearcat student athletes.
Yeah, right there, cat-fund.com. For as little as $10 a month, you could sign up and support these athletes. Great way to get involved and support Sam Houston athletics. And basketball season coming up should have some sort of raffle out there for a signed basketball from the men's basketball team before the season starts. So definitely want to get in on that, become a member, get discounted access to events that we'll have throughout the year. So sign up. We need everybody. It takes everyone.
It does. It does take everyone. And then, you know, you've got the $10 a month. It may not sound like much, but it really does go a long way. Basketball media days were last week, and Benjamin, I had a problem. I go on and I click on the video, you know, the Conference USA put out the watch here, and I click on the video yesterday, and it was no longer available. So I wasn't able to cut a lot of video, only what I could find on the internet, which was one thing that the conference put out from Chris Mudge. So we will get there in a minute. But first, let's talk about the Women's Media Day, and I'm really hoping that you've got the goods on the women's basketball program in Raven, Justice.
Yeah, I mean, I could just talk about the team for a few minutes here, just give a high-level overview. I think they're picked 7th in the preseason poll. Conference USA this year is a league where it is just extremely top-heavy. Middle Tennessee has lost, I think, 4 games in conference the last 2 years. Louisiana Tech looks like they might be getting back to the powerhouse they used to be. Maybe not winning national championships like they did in the 80s, but they won Conference USA a few years ago. They return a lot. Liberty's going to be really, really good. So the top 3, Missouri State comes in, and they're always a power in the OVC, or they were. So the top 3 or 4 teams kind of feel settled, but I don't see any reason why you can't be 4th, 5th, or 6th. This team returns around 70% of its scoring. And just some of the notable ones, Nyla Inman, starter last year, averaged 11 and 6. Deborah Ogayemi, who was with Coach Justice at Media Day, averaged 12 and 8 last year, was a preseason all-conference selection. Asia Ward Strong, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 steals a game. Fantacone, 8. Listen to this stat line from last year. 8 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 3 steals a game. She's back, primary ball handler. and you saw strides be made last year. You returned about 70% of your scoring. You returned practically your entire starting lineup. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic with this team. And then another one, Kaylee Carr, she was brought up in the media day part, a true freshman that Coach Justice thinks can make an impact this year, a highly touted freshman. So, yeah, there's a lot of different pieces this team has. They started to trend in the right direction last year. I don't know if this is a team that competes for a conference title. Maybe they shock us like soccer did, but I think they're probably a 4th, 5th, 6th place team. And if they are, they continue to move in the right direction, which is what you want to see from this program.
It is, because when Coach Justice came in, the women's basketball program has not necessarily been really good in recent years. But this does feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but from my point of view, this feels like a really significant year for Coach Justice with the program and with Sam Houston. And if you don't hit that middle range, 4, 5, 6, I don't want to see it, but it could lead to a change possibly.
Yeah, and this feels like an all-in year, too. Like baseball a few years ago, the year they went to the tournament, you could see things building for that year. You can see it building to this year, and I wish the conference wasn't so top-heavy, but maybe you compete with those kind of schools. But this is the kind of team that you expect to get 4th or 5th place, somewhere around there. That's my expectation. And I think you've kind of set that expectation for yourself with the step you took forward last year. You won a game in the Conference USA tournament. It was one of the play-in games, but you kind of separated yourself from the bottom 2 or 3 schools. Now it's time to separate yourself a little bit more and get kind of into that upper third.
Listen, you get a 4 or 5 seed, you go to the conference tournament, you have a chance. And that's really what you're asking for this year from the women's basketball team.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, I am very high on this team, and there was a philosophy shift last year also with Coach Justice, to where I know she said before last season they didn't touch a ball for like an entire month. It was all defense, and the defensive identity really started to show later in the year, especially with players like Fontecone, Asia Ward-Strong, stuff like that. Second year with that new identity, same group for the most part. We'll see what they can put together, but I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I am too. I'm expecting some pretty positive results from the women's basketball program. Now on the men's side, it feels like a big year for Coach Mudge as well, and here's what he had to say about recruiting players in the offseason.
I really wanted to rebuild around the winning returners that we had. Guys like Damon, CJ, all the other guys that had come back were all guys that knew what winning was and lived their life in a way that we want our Bearcat winners to do. And so we wanted to just go find more guys that fit that. And whether it was Portal, high school, we just wanted to create a really good team. And
I like what he says. And I also like the fact that he gave us an early look at basketball Salmon.
Yes, and that'll debut tomorrow night, I believe, which is Bearcat Madness.
The Bearcat Madness tomorrow night. Big game this weekend. Going to have to beat the Jacks, and Rev's going to be crying on that hardwood floor.
Yeah, it's Sunday, big one for soccer.
Yeah, Sunday, big one. Noon, Justin. Noon. Don't forget, ESPN Plus. Yeah, okay, so let's get into the men's basketball program. This is a program that a couple of years ago, was right there at the top. Last year, maybe fell back a little bit. They lost Lamar Wilkerson. We know he's in Indiana, and he's given a little bit back to the program as well. It's a thank you for your time. Go be great at Indiana. But how do you replace those, and who have they gotten to replace the production of Lamar Wilkerson?
Yeah, well, the first part, how do they replace them? I think it starts with Damon Nicholas. Coach Mudge said after another question that was asked to him that this is Damon's team. And Damon was the glue guy for the team that won the regular season in 23-24. He wasn't your leading scorer, wasn't your best ball handler, but he's your best defender, maybe your best rebounder. He's the glue guy. He makes everything work, can shoot just enough from three. So I think it starts with him and his leadership. He's got to be the guy that's going to lead this team with so many new people coming in, show them the standard, what it means to win. As far as production on the court, I think there's a few names to look for. Starting at point guard, Justin Begg looks to be your starter. Kind of a roundabout story with him. He was a guy Sam Houston was on a few years ago. Coach Mike Econom was here during Jason Hooten's last year. I think that was Begg's junior year of high school. But Sam Houston was on him there. Econom goes to George Mason. Begg commits to George Mason, plays his freshman year there with Coach Econom. Played about 10 minutes a game for a George Mason team that won the A-10 regular season. So he was a part of that team. And so he comes back closer to home, looks to be a big part of this team. Tobias Bass had him as one of the top risers for this coming season, had him with a bunch of other really big names. So look out for Justin Begg. He'll do some big things. Po Boy King, all first name team.
Popeyes guy.
You know what his middle name is?
What?
Izza. Iyzah. Po Boy is
Oh
a king.
boy, Izza.
Yeah, so just an incredible name, but averaged 17 points per game at NC Central last year. Comes in, is going to be one of your leading scorers, is someone to watch. And then a couple big men. There's really no one center that sticks out. You've past couple of years, you've brought in your Khalifa Sacco, Suleiman Doumbia, those kind of guys. You bring in Vajko Ilic from Loyola, who played pretty well there. I think it was 8 points, 5 rebounds a game. A little bit of a different play style, more of a back to the basket guy. So he's going to be a part of the rotation. Shek Njai got thrown into the fire as a true freshman last year and played a ton of minutes after having a broken wrist. First game against Kennesaw State, I think it was double overtime. He played both overtimes in his first game after a broken wrist as a true freshman. He physically looks even better than last year. I think he's a guy that could take a jump. And Matt Dan, I tweeted about him a lot this summer with the FIBA U18. He was like their starting center for Canada. He'll be a piece of the team. So 3 guys at center that I think could play. And then the final name to hit on that I think is really going to be an impact name, and we talked about him a little bit this summer, is Kashi Nat. Was the NAIA Player of the Year at LSU Alexandria last year. Played 2 Division I exhibitions and scored 20 against Louisiana Tech and 18 against Lamar. At LSU Alexandria actually beat Lamar at their place in an exhibition. So he's one to watch that I think could light up the scoreboard. Don't know exactly what his role is going to be, but he's going to be the most athletic player on the floor at all times and bring an instant impact to this team. So I like what they have.
For those who are unaware, which is probably a whole lot of you, LSU Alexandria is a powerhouse NAIA program every single year. They are tremendous. Okay, Ben, you've gave us a lot of knowledge, and we have learned a ton, especially me. So where do you think this team fits in Conference USA this year?
Yeah, it's so hard to predict. I think Liberty is the clear number 1 in Conference USA, rightfully so. Won the league last year, returns most of their starting lineup, including their 2 guards. So I think they're clearly number 1. Kennesaw State showed a lot last year. They returned a couple starters, so I think they were number 2 in the preseason poll. New Mexico State had an incredible portal class, and they were number 3. I could realistically see this team anywhere from 2nd to 8th. That is how wide open it is. I think they probably slot in 3rd or 4th, 5th, somewhere around there, 3 to 5. But just talking to the staff a couple weeks ago while we were doing our auction casino night and golf tournament, there's a quiet confidence with this team, very similar to what I saw 2 years ago. And so we'll see, but the staff really, really likes this roster. We'll see what they put together. Obviously, a lot of newcomers. I think you have to replace 93% of your scoring, but on paper, I think this team is more talented than last year. The first thing Coach Mudge told me after the first couple workouts with this team is, man, they just like to hoop more than especially last year's team, which had a lot of adversity and things go on. But this team has really meshed well together. They love to play, have a lot of different things they can do. So I would say somewhere in the 3 to 5 range. So I guess I would say 4th. And if you're 4th in this league, you got just as good of a shot as anyone to win it.
I'm gonna say that Mudge quiet confidence. That's pretty good. We're going to find out. We're going to find out Saturday, right? The hardwood against SFA. We're going to find out some about it.
Yeah, and there was a secret scrimmage with a team from Louisiana that I posted about in the Cat Fun section last week. I didn't get the exact score, but I posted the results, had some cliff notes from the game. Pretty positive, and it's hard to take away much from these these scrimmages because you're not in your rotations, you're doing different things, but it was a very encouraging result against a pretty good team in Louisiana.
Justin Hernandez, before we head off the air, he said he's going to try to remember that soccer game at noon on Sunday. After church, it's finger-licking barbecue time. But for Sam Houston, I can skip a belt-busting barbecue session. Justin, we talked about it earlier in the show, Justin. You have technology. Grab your smartphone, download ESPN Plus. Do not skip out on the finger-licking barbecue. That'd be crazy talk. Jesus don't want you doing that. Get the phone out, watch some soccer, and enjoy the barbecue. Problem solved.
Yes. Hopefully it is a very good Sunday. I will be watching our soccer team instead of the Texans. My Texans have been disappointing. My soccer team has been not. So my attention will be on soccer fully.
I tell you, I turned the Texans off the other night when they started 9 o'clock. You ain't catching my attention. That's a wrap.
Yeah, better than the 11 o'clock Hawaii start at least.
That is true. That's a wrap for this episode. Or the one last week, the Marathon SFA game that had 4 hours almost of weather delays and did get over to 1 o'clock. That's a wrap for this episode of March to the Pod. I got to go to bed. Presented by Eternal Roofing. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back next week with more coverage of Bearcat athletics. Till then, Ben, take us home.
Yeah, eat 'em up, cats. Axe the Jacks on Saturday and extinguish the flames on Sunday.
Listen, Justin, help your mama out. Get them pants and polo ready. And don't forget, go get that barbecue, my man.